Hello guys, so I hope you're doing well. Today is just one of those days where I've passed another 100k account. So here's my certificate. This is a new company that I've never tried before. It goes by the name Instant Funding. I've passed the account, I think, with a number of trades. I've been taking the challenge for roughly 3 months, and I'll just be sharing with the stats of the account in a few. But basically, this is the certificate. Congrats for passing the one first challenge. This is the company that I've taken the challenge with. It's called Instant Funding. It's a company I was trying because I saw it on Trustpilot. I saw it has some nice reviews, etc. However, the reason why I took this company was very specific. Number one, I've been trying as much as possible to diversify. But apart from diversifying, I've really wanted to try a one phase for the longest time. If you guys know me, I've only been taking 2-step challenges only. I've never done a one phase challenge, but I've always wanted to try a one phase challenge. The problem is every company which I was trying to look for one phase challenges, I found their conditions to be quite tight. For most companies, the one phase challenge either has a consistency rule. Some of them have a very tight drawdown of 3% of daily and 6% maximum. So I didn't find the one phase challenge to be a very viable option for me. But for this company, the reason why I took it, and I've never even shared with you guys, I've been taking this challenge for over 3 months. I'm only sharing this with you because I've actually passed it, and also I'll hopefully trade it slowly, get some payouts, and I'll share with you the progress as well. But I never shared because I just wanted to take the challenge and see how the one phase is. So when you go to the one phase of this company, this is just usual one phase. The account I went for is 100k. Now let's go to the conditions. The daily drawdown is 3%, which is typical for most one-step challenges. But what interested me here is that the max drawdown is actually 8%. For most one-phase challenges, they give you a max drawdown of either 5 or 6%, which is just very, very tight. But for this company, still have a maximum drawdown of 8%, which is actually almost close to 10%. That's why I was comfortable to go for this account size. Another thing, the daily drawdown of 3% is not something very bad for me, because guys, I get very few setups in a month. So even if I decide to risk 1 or 2% on my trades, it's not easy for me to lose, 3% within a day, because I hardly even get those 2 losses in a day, considering that I don't get trades every other time. So long story short, I went for this instant funding company. We'll talk about it maybe in future after I've already done some payouts. But for now, here is the dashboard of my account. Just got my congratulations message a few minutes ago. I've also been able to do their KYC. Their KYC was quite simple. The only thing they wanted from me was, I think, the ID and, showing the face on that selfie verification thing, ID back and front photo. And I was able to get verified, and I've been told that the KYC has passed. Unless there's any other thing which I don't know, but based on my dashboard, I've been told that I've already passed the KYC. So immediately I passed the account, I got an email. It was literally instant. The same time my trade hit TP. So I've taken 2 trades in the past 2 days. Here's one on UJ, it was a bullish trade. Then I've taken another one today. This one of today is the one which has actually closed and hit the TP. Immediately it hit TP because I do have a trading view alert at the same minute. An email telling me congratulations at the same time. Also at the same time, I got another email telling me I've already been given details to my funded account, but the funded account will only be enabled after 24 hours after I complete my KYC. So I've done the KYC already. It's not 24 hours yet, but already I can see the account is here. It says active, but they told me that I should be able to trade after 24 hours, so I don't understand that yet. Maybe I'll just try to log in and see on my MT5, but I've not done any of that yet. But here's the live account that I've been given already. So if you go to the live account under the analytics, you will see it is completely clean, no trade taken. So I've not yet activated it by taking any live trade. However, if we go back now, let's focus on the account that I took the challenge, which is here, past 100k account. The target for this account, even before we check the analytics, was 10% for phase 1. Now, there are a few things with this account which I think I must mention, because I think I'm also probably giving you a review of the company at the same time, because I'm just sharing my honest opinion. So one thing with this account, the one phase account, that I noticed when I was purchasing them, because I went for the one phase MT5 100,000, is they don't allow news trading. Now, I don't trade during the news. However, it is not completely abnormal for me to find myself sometimes having 1 or 2 trades which close during the news window. Especially on days where we have things like unemployment claims. Sometimes, the trade can close within that news window, and then you can breach the rules. So for this company, news trading is not allowed unless you take an add-on. So not only did I buy this account, I also went for the add-on which allows news trading. So instead of 489, I ended up using a price point of about 562 to get this account. I didn't take any other add-on. I still did the 10% profit target. I didn't lower the target. I didn't remove the minimum trading days, which I think is 3. And I also didn't add any maximum drawdown. I think 8% maximum drawdown is a lot for me. That is, more than enough based on how I trade. If they had an add-on to add the daily drawdown, I'd have considered needed, but they didn't have that. Then here's the leverage. The leverage for currencies is 1:30, commodities 1:8. So if you're trading gold, ETC, I don't think this is the best type of account for you with a 1:8 leverage. Let's just be real. For me, currencies 1:30 works very, very well. I was still able to open positions as huge as 2% risk. I think I opened a lot size of 20 even when I was passing the account, and it opened completely well without, giving me any margin issues. In fact, one of the trades actually went into drawdown fast, which I'll be showing you. I think that's the trade of yesterday. Is it? No, the trade of today. It went into some deep drawdown, almost hitting out my stop loss before going to my side, and I never got any margin issue with a 20 lot size, which is a 2% risk on the account. But we'll get into that in a minute. So now let's go back into the stats of the account that I've just passed. 100K account. Target was $10,000, which is 10% of the account. I've done this challenge for about 3 months, and is it 1 week or 2 weeks, something like that. However, I've not been trading every day, and I must also tell you, if you watched my last video where I talked about my Q3 trading performance, I showed you that in Q3 my system struggled a bit. I hardly was getting any nice setups. In the whole of Q3, I was able to only do about a 1 hour, and a 1 hour is really, really bad. With a 1 hour, it goes to show I hardly made money on the account. The other issue that I have multiple accounts, so I don't take all these trades on all accounts. So not every trade that I showed you might reflect on this account, because I take them, sometimes in rotation, just depending on how I want to trade. For this account of 100,000, for the last few months, I had very terrible progress. I started with a loss, then I took, I think, a break even. This break even wasn't supposed to be a break even. I was just trying out some new things. So I took a trade on UJ, if I'm not wrong, on this day, and I was trying to aim for a 1:4 instead of a 1:3 as my system says. So this trade went all the way to a 1:3, meaning I should have closed here with roughly close to $2,000 and something dollars or $3,000. However, I didn't close it because I was targeting a 1:4, and then eventually it was reversing heavily, and I discovered, what, the 1:4 I'm trying to look for won't get hit, so let me just secure the $300. So this really was my own mistake, but sometimes you just need to try, even though I was disrespecting my system. But in my defense, I had tried to study my data, and I had seen a pattern of many UJ trades doing a 1:4 easily. So the day I just decided to try is the day that the market refused to work. So instead of doing about a 3% for this day, my trade came back almost at break even, and I just decided to close at a $300 profit, while it had already hit my $3,000 mark, and I just taken a 1:3. After that, we had a number of losses, and then we had another TP. This was a 3R TP. However, if you check on a 100K account on UJ, for you to risk 1%, you need to open almost a 10 lot size. You can see my lot size was slightly smaller because I was risking roughly 0.8% on this trade and not 1%, meaning I was risking roughly $800. So I closed with about 2,141. We went into, I think, either break even. This must be a break even. Maybe I just got the entry late, so that's why we have this big figure. Then we took a stop loss. Then we had first TP here. This TP helped us to now start recovering the drawdown. If you have seen from this point in time, we've been having more losses than winners. You can see that. So meaning the account was in a tiny drawdown. Let's go back and see. This is about this period. The account was in a drawdown of 4%, roughly 4%. Biggest drawdown we've gone into this account is 6%, guys. And the max drawdown is 8%. Now, here's the catch. You see, in typical one-phase challenges I've told you, the max drawdown usually is 5 or 6. So if I was taking any other one-step challenge, I think here where I traded close to 96,000, sorry, I think the drawdown was about 4% here, not 6%, I would have almost breached this account because some one-step challenges have a very, very tiny drawdown allowance. So for this one, the drawdown allowance is quite huge. Now, yesterday and today is what has created the difference in this account, whether you believe it or not, just 2 trading days. One thing I've been trying to do with my accounts is, I've been telling myself if I find a good setup, I want to start to probably size up more, take more risk on the account. If we lose, we lose. As long as I know I have an edge and I keep doing what I'm doing and I have the capacity to get another PropFirm account, then eventually I'll still pass, many accounts faster, because I've been trying to change my structure of how I'm doing PropFirms. It's not something I've fully settled on yet, but I was just looking at my performance and I was like, I can't continue doing challenges for, 4 or 5 months, and I do know that I have an edge in the market. So from yesterday, I decided, for this account, because I've been getting some nice setups, let me try to size up more. So I took these 2 trades on UJ. Maybe I'll just give you an overview of why I took them, etc. But for these 2 trades, I decided to risk 2% each instead of 1%. So with the 2%, if we go back to the start, you will see I used a lot size of 20. Now, you can see from a while back, I was doing 0.8% risk, 0.8% risk. And the account is just going nowhere. You make TP, you make a small TP. So the account is just playing around the same point in time. So for me to hit 10%, I'll have to wait for, again, the next 3-4 TPs for me to do that. So I decided, you know what, if we have a net, let's just try to risk slightly higher as long as you're also strategic and you know the kind of setups you're taking are quality. And if we lose somehow, it's also okay. But I know as long as I keep repeating the same thing, it's easy for me to pass more accounts faster than, you know, staying there for very, very many months. Considering the whole of my Q3 was very, very slow again. So for yesterday, I took this trade here on UJ. I did a 20 lot size, which is basically 2% risk on the account instead of 1%. 2% is roughly $2,000 risk. It was supposed to close with roughly $6,000, but again, entry was not on point. So it closed with about 55.74 instead of 6,000. Today, we've taken another 20 lot size, about risking 2,000 for 6,000. However, I didn't just close at 6,000 because if you look, yesterday's trade was a 1:3. Based on my system, I should be taking a 1:3. But today, if I was to do a 1:3, my TP would have been somewhere here, as you can see. However, my TP was where? My TP was slightly above there, 1:3.47, because I did my math and I was like, if I take a 1:3, I was going to remain with roughly, I think, $300 to pass the challenge. So I decided to just do the math. Then I increased my TP a little because it was also not a very huge margin. It was just roughly about, because usually I should take 45 pips. This was 52. So it was roughly about 7 pips extra. Then I would have made the $300 on top and pass phase 1. So instead of doing a 1:3, I increased my TP to a 1:3.4 just for it to cut up for that small amount that was needed for me to pass and hit the 10%. So just like that, we did hit our 10% today. The lot sizes were quite big here. The risk was quite higher. Yesterday, it was very risky for me to take this 2% risk. However, today was not so risky because today, if I had taken the 2% loss, assuming it didn't go on my side, I had already made over $5,000 yesterday, close to 6,000. So out of these 6,000 of yesterday, if this one didn't work out, I'd have only lost about 2,000 from it. Then maybe from then I could consider whether I want to continue using the same risk or maybe increase or reduce. But this was actually the most risky setup because at this point in time, my account balance was roughly $98,000. We were at like a 2% drawdown, if I'm not wrong. Yes, here is it, 2% drawdown. So if we took this loss, would have gone downwards to another 4%. However, it worked out, made us huge profits. Now today was easier to take another 2% because the setup was very quality and I was risking based on the idea that even if we lose the 2%, we still did a 3R yesterday. So we'll only wipe out maybe, is it a third of yesterday's profit only. But that didn't happen. It went to our side and just like that, we passed our challenge. I've only been taking UJ and CJ on this account, but UJ is what has actually passed the account, as you can see. Minimum trading days are 3 on this account, no breaches. Leverage of this account is 1:100. I think I saw somewhere it was 1:30. I don't understand the difference, but I can see here it's written 1:100. Maybe that's why it was even able to open the 20 lot size comfortably. Risk to reward says about 1:6. Equity is there. Number of buys 136. On this account, there were no sell trades taken, only buy positions because again, I've been on UJ and CJ and most of these markets have been working very well with me whenever I look for bullish setups. So I might go for a couple of days without getting trades, but whenever I wait for these bullish opportunities, they work out very, very well. Taken 14 trades, however, for all this period, I was doing very small risk and it was wasting my time. But when I decided to size up my risk, it went very, very well and I passed my account faster. Keep in mind, there was also a risk of me going into deeper drawdown. But again, I've got to a point where I'm very comfortable to lose an account. As long as I'm following my edge, I know eventually I'll still be able to pass accounts. So I think I'm starting to adapt the idea of I just can't be there trading an account for so many months and fearing to fail. Like if we fail, we fail. As long as we can get another account and continue to size up that risk and pass faster. After passing, will I go back to using the same 2% risk? Of course not. After passing, actually I think I'll be doing roughly 0.8% risk on this account because again, the daily drawdown is only 3% and I don't want to lose it anytime soon. So I'll go back to using 0.8% such that if I do 0.8% and I have a 3% daily drawdown, it means within a day I give myself, let's just say roughly 3 trades I need to lose within a day for me to blow the account, which is not very, very easy based on my strategy. Within a 24 hours period, me losing 3 trades, doesn't happen that often. So that's it. Maybe I'll break down for you these trades in the next video or something. But basically, these trades were very, very nice on UJ. UJ has been consolidating. If you watch my Q3 breakdown, we've been having like a 1-2 month consolidation. Then after the 2-month consolidation, it did a typical textbook setup. Now, this is what a typical consolidation setup looks like. Usually, the market will come and do this. Let me just push this here. Textbook setup will do this. Market will consolidate. It will break either up or down. In this case, it broke upwards. After breaking upwards, usually it won't just continue buying. Either it will come and retest this level to continue buying, or it will come and retest somewhere within this range, and then it will be unable to break down this zone and continue buying. That is exactly what UJ did. Did a consolidation, we got this long week. We got a breakout from the consolidation, came back and retested, was unable to break down below the consolidation, and after that we've seen it pushing upwards with a lot of volume. So that's why I've also been having a lot of confidence to take the trades on UJ, looking for those bullish opportunities based on my analysis. Unless anything changes, there is a high chance we might see it pushing higher all the way to cover this high or this high, which means we have a lot of room up here for me to continue looking for bullish opportunities. So that's what I'll be looking for the rest of Q3, but of course I still have to wait for my playbook to come into play before I can execute. So that's it, guys. I think I've also done a video to show how I pass the KYC of this account, which will be dropping soon, so you can just wait for it. For those of you who've been asking me how to pass KYC etc, but that's it for this account. Hopefully, again, if we trade live and then we get those payouts, I'll update you on how the payouts work, the process of getting the payouts etc. So otherwise, you guys have a nice week or weekend depending on the time you're watching this video. Until next time, peace.